Hey, what's up everybody, Serenity here, and today I'm happy to bring you my Frost guide, so let's get into it. Alright, so she has two viable primaries, the Super 90 and the 9mm C1, aka the Sten. Now you probably won't believe what I'm gonna say, but I recommend the shotgun. Personally, I think it's the best shotgun in the game. It shoots really quickly, it one-shots people from pretty far away, and it has amazing range for a shotgun. Using the shotgun, if you flank well, you're gonna be able to decimate a large group of enemies in seconds. On the Super 90, you can use whatever optic you want, and I recommend using the laser sight because it's gonna tighten the spread a little bit, but if you flank a lot, then you can remove the laser if you want. On the Sten, however, I would recommend the reflex sight and no suppressor. I know it's tempting to go for the suppressor, but the thing is, the Sten has extremely low DPS, and putting a suppressor on there would just make it even worse. But if you do go for the suppressor, you absolutely have to go for headshots, or else it's gonna take an eternity to kill someone. The only sidearm that she carries is the MK1 9mm, and I like it. It has a lot of bullets in the mag and a great sight. Onto the gadgets. If you're playing alone, I recommend going for the deployable shield, as you can put a welcome mat behind it. But if you're playing with your squad, take the nitro cell and ask someone else to put the shield down for you. Of course, as per usual, what I just said should be ignored if you're going for a specific plan. And to finish off the loadout, Frost has medium armor and medium speed, making her very flexible. Frost's special ability is the welcome mat. It's basically a bear trap that's actually pretty hard to see. When an enemy steps on it, it will injure him or kill him if he's already damaged. Here's what you have to know about the welcome mat. It's a mechanical device, so Twitch's drone and Thatcher's EMP grenades won't affect it. Surprisingly, this trap actually works. Because of its low profile nature, it's easy to miss it when aiming down sight. It's effective in highly contested areas, as the enemies will aim down sight when clearing those. And as you know, when you're aiming down sight, you can't really see the ground that well. It's also effective in front of windows because it's very hard to see there. I mean, sometimes it's literally impossible to see it unless you rappel upside down. Alright, here's how you place it for a window. If the only way to go in is to rappel, don't stick it right next to the wall because the enemy will land further. You need to space it from the wall a little bit more than that. If you need to vault to get in the room, you should stick it as close to the wall as possible. That way it's going to be harder to see. You can even place it sideways in the middle because when you rappel and you jump into a room, you always end up in the middle. When placing your bear traps, pay attention to the color of the floor. Good camouflage will make a huge difference in the effectiveness of your trap. The bear trap will get destroyed if it's on the other side of a wall that gets breached, however, it won't be destroyed the same way from a window. It's highly effective behind a deployable shield because it's hard to see, and because you're forced to land right on top of it. There is a way to shoot in that little gap and to destroy the bear trap though, but not a lot of people know about this. It is possible to destroy the bear trap as you're falling on top of it, but you're very vulnerable while doing that because you'll have to look straight down, completely ruining your crosshair placement. So even though the trap didn't snap your foot, it still did its job. The bear traps are also very good at giving you information, as the only way to get past them is to destroy them. If you see a bear trap in a doorway, you know that no one from the enemy team used that doorway. That might not seem like a big deal, but in some situations, this information can be crucial. For example, finding on which bomb the diffuser is on. Try to remember where you placed your welcome mats, because that way, if you get points for injuring someone, you'll know where to look. My final advice on the placement of bear traps is to not place them on the extremities of the building, because the attackers are usually pretty careful when they're there. You actually want to place them pretty close to you, which is where the fight will happen. That way, it's much easier for the enemies to make a mistake, as they have, a lot of angles and murder holes to worry about. Let's talk about the guns. I, like many other people, love this shotgun. The reason why I love it so much is that it has a surprisingly good range for a shotgun. That feature makes it viable even in tournaments. The reason why no one uses shotguns in tournaments is that if you're playing against good players, they will force you into long-range engagements. They'll just avoid peeking you in close range. And that's just gonna render your primary useless. But like I said, that's not a problem with the Super 90. It's also amazing at taking large groups of enemies from behind. With the SMG9, it's easy to run out of ammo when that happens, but with the Super 90, it's a piece of cake. It's also very good at peeking corners because of the peeker's advantage. What takes the most time in a firefight is aiming. With a shotgun, you don't have to do a whole lot of aiming, and so killing someone within the peeker's advantage is very realistic. A playstyle that I would recommend with this weapon is passive roaming. That means to hide somewhere where you can flank from later on in the round. If you do it correctly and with a little timing and luck, you will annihilate big groups of enemies from behind. If you don't get to do that, just do some classic roaming. So run and gun type of thing. Peek close to medium range angle with the shotgun and just try to put as much pressure as you can on the enemy team to make them forget about your traps and their objective. The Sten's also a pretty good gun. The only thing is that it has an extremely low DPS, which means you'll have to go for headshots all the time. The one good feature about this gun is the stability, but you can't put an ACOG on the thing. An ACOG would be really helpful because you could get headshots easier and you could use it for long range. So, you know, the gun not fitting an ACOG makes it pretty hard to use its best feature, which is the stability. Oh, and the vertical mag blocks the vision quite a lot when you lean on the right, which can be pretty annoying to be honest. The playstyle that I would recommend with this gun is pretty much the same as the shotgun, but try to kite a little more because you don't want to engage in 1v3 situations with the stun. You still want to roam, but don't get in fights that are too crazy. The reason I say that is because it takes a while to kill someone. Imagine a 1v3. It would be a pretty tough task. Also, this has a much longer effective range than the shotgun, and so it should be used that way. Alright guys, I covered everything I wanted to talk about. So in conclusion, place the bear traps in front of windows, in stairwells, and on darker floors. Remember to place them close to you as they are much more likely to work that way. Also, you need to be able to remember their location very easily. That way, if you get points for injuring someone, you'll know where to look. In general, you want to use Frost as a roamer to put as much pressure as she can on the enemy team to force them to always look at their back, reducing their effectiveness on the front line. And if they fail to look at their back, you will decimate their whole team in seconds with the Super 90. Keep in mind that the effectiveness of your trap and the amount of pressure that you're putting on the enemy team synergizes very well. So if you're wondering why your traps are not working, it's probably because you're not putting pressure on the enemy team. And a possible reason why your pressure is not working could be bad welcome mat placement. Well guys, I hope this video is gonna help out. It was a lot of fun to make, and I have to say Frost has quickly become one of my favorite operator thanks to the shotgun. My next video is gonna be the bug guide, and it should be here pretty soon because I already have all the clips for it. So yeah, thanks a lot for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's an example of that against a pretty good team in a ranked game.
Oh, he's not dead.
Flanking, right now, flanking, two flanking.
Friendly, last operator standing.
Staircase, two staircase. Staircase, immediate.
Op 4, last stop standing.
But if the enemy thermite knows what he's doing, he's gonna place a charge at the very end of the wall and he will be able to detonate it. On small reinforcement walls, however, you can use one jammer to secure two walls. That's because they're small enough that even if thermite puts the charge at the very end of the wall, your jammer is still in range.